So now I really wanted to talk about the dreaded bad readings. And I want to talk about this from a reader's perspective, not the sitter's perspective. And it's really important because I don't think enough people are talking about this. But even people who charge $1,000, who charge $800, $600, they have bad days. It's like any other job out there. You will have days that excite you, days that you just like can't go wrong, and then you will have days where just things just don't go right. And a lot of readers really are hard on themselves, harder on ourselves than our clients are on us when we have readings that don't necessarily meet our expectations. And as readers, our expectations are really high, especially nowadays where mediumship is so public and we have TV shows and we're comparing ourselves to the amazing readers out there. It's really good early on to look at other mediums' work. I always encourage my students to watch other mediums' work, but do it from a lens of admiration. What qualities do they have that you admire and that you would love to, learn to develop yourself? Maybe it's getting names, maybe it's getting passings, maybe it's getting the relationship, but always look at other mediums' work from a lens of kudos, good for you, you deserve this, success. Not I'm not there yet, I'm not good enough to be doing this. You want to keep your vibrations high, okay? So just don't fall into that comparison trap. But our sitters also nowadays have a different level of expectation because they see how good these mediums are on TV in a 5-minute snippet. And I promise you, if you were to look at a 40-minute reading that you may have done in the past that you were really proud of, your reading would also look like that on a TV editing floor. It would look and sound phenomenal. So please keep that in mind as well as you're going along this. But there are sometimes readings that aren't in flow. They are like literally like pulling a rope trying to get information out of spirit. And it's not spirit's fault. I truly believe spirit's always ripe and ready to show up. Mediumship is a 3-way link, so it depends on our energy, spirit's energy, and our sitter's energy. If you were to ask me, a lot of the time I feel like some of the readings that don't meet our expectations are because of our sitter's energy. I've seen it before where sitters all of a sudden have amnesia and they're not able to place half the information that we're saying, and our egos get a little bit caught up and we start to lose our power and our energy dips because we're hearing a bunch of no's and we're thinking, okay, maybe I'm not a medium. And a lot of the time, almost all the time, you will hear from a client after saying, oh, I can place all that information now. And you're like, damn, I wish I just stuck with it, and I wish that I didn't let it affect me as much. But sometimes too, sitters come in wanting to hear one specific thing, and they are so tunnel visioned on hearing that one specific thing that they're not open-hearted to receiving anything outside of that. I've had that happen a lot. And anytime I look back at the readings that have drained me and have been really the readings that have made me consider, do I still want to do this work? They've all had an element of that within it. So I'm not blaming the sitter because it is a 3-way link. Things need to work out. You need to learn how to hold your power, keep your vibrations high if you do have a sitter that is like that. I've also had sitters who just want to talk. I have sitters who want to talk over me the entire time or share their story. And I've learned now to just kind of sit back and be like, okay, this is what they need right now, and this is what they want. My dishwasher. This is like the 5th video I've done, and I've had like 3 bloopers. I'm not editing it one time through. That's how I work. It's so funny. So then how do you get over these readings? Don't ruminate. Don't replay the reading 100 times in your mind's voice. Don't punish yourself. It's not worth the energy. So one of the things that I do and I tell my students to do, give yourself 1 hour after your sessions. Like spirit, your own spirit, I will give you 1 hour to ruminate on this and punish yourself, and then you get over it and you move on. Don't carry that bad reading with you. Another thing I encourage people to do is do another reading right away. I made the mistake back in 2016 or 17. And I had a really difficult client, and she was very abusive towards me. And it was the first and only time that I ever attracted somebody like that. And I actually stopped doing readings for 6 months, and it was heartbreaking that I let somebody get the better of me that didn't deserve that much energy from me. And the truth of the matter is, I never heard from them again, never heard about them again. It was just a phenomenon that happened. And I let it affect me to the point that I stopped doing work on behalf of spirit because she got to me so much. Whereas I know the right thing now would have been just to start doing readings again and just like working with spirit, getting clearer with them on who I want to work with and who I want to attract to my practice. So get out there, don't stop doing them, just go on to the next one. Really journal about what you feel like you could have done better. Could you have prepared differently? Could you have like stuck to a piece of evidence a little bit longer? Here's an example. I had a reading with somebody who was very prominent in my little town, probably about year 2 of my practice being open. And immediately I said, I have an aunt here. She passed from cancer, but she survived cancer once. It's like she had cancer twice. No, sorry. And I was so scared because I got it wrong and I wanted this person to respect me so much. I actually let it go. And then I went to her house a few months later for an event. She's like, oh, I talked to my mom and she did lose a sister who died of cancer and had cancer before. And I thought, what if I had stuck with that piece of evidence and just honored what I was receiving? The reading would have turned totally different, because it ended up being one of those readings that was like this, because I was second guessing myself. I was thinking like, okay, Daniela, you shouldn't be doing this. She doesn't believe in you. She paid this money and she thinks that you're like totally kooky now. And I stuck in my head the entire reading. So I wasn't even able to connect with spirit, to get that full blend, to get that full flow. So if your client doesn't understand, just say, okay, keep it with you. Let me know later if it makes sense, okay? Keep your vibrations high. And just be gentle with yourself. It's so important to have a development journal that you can document your early days, and then as you move on, keep the journal going. I have a podcast called Spirit School, which is completely based off of my first 3 years of development. I documented everything, every single experience, and I'm so glad I did, because it was also a guide that showed me how far I've come and how good I actually am, because I'm like, look where you were, Danielle. You couldn't even move beyond seeing a tree in your clairvoyant vision. And now you're able to actually move it into something that makes kind of sense. And so it's really important to kind of go back to where you started and see how far you've come. And don't let them get you down. Okay, everyone's going to get a bad reading once in a while, or a reading where they don't feel like they're going to meet their expectations. And that's my final piece of advice on this. What are expectations? They're the thief of joy. Maybe drop your expectations. Maybe just commit to spirit, to being an open channel and open heart and open mind, and have some fun. Let's have some fun today, and then see how your readings transform. I hope this was helpful.